The nominated riders race, and not surprisingly, Hackney team manager Les Morrell names the two unbeaten riders. In red, that's Tony Olsen. In blue, Paul Whitaker, both looking to complete maximums from 5 rides. And for the Eagles, in white, it's Paul Woods, and in yellow and black, Gordon Kennett. And from the tapes, it's the Hackney pairing who dart into the lead. Paul Woods trying up the inside there of Paul Whitaker, but Whitaker holds the outside line, swoops around the outside of his partner to Tony Olsen to take the lead. Olsen tucking in there for second place, and it looks as if the Hackney pairing are going to finish off in style and both complete 5 ride maximums in the process. Coming up now to the end of the second lap, Whitaker a long way clear, looking back to ensure that his partner Tony Olsen is there too, and certainly there's no challenge forthcoming from either Paul Woods, who's holding third place, or Gordon Kennett, who's trailed off at the back. So 1 lap to go in this final heat of this challenge match against the Eastbourne Eagles, and Hackney, as I say, seemingly set to finish in style with yet another 5-1, as rounding the last bend is Paul Whitaker about to take the checkered flag, Tony Olsen in second place, and Paul Woods in third place. So another maximum heat advantage to the Hackney Hawks to finish off this challenge match and bring the final score to Hackney 54, Eastbourne 36. And congratulations to both Tony Olsen and Paul Whitaker on their maximums.
The yellow ticket, is that a yellow-brown ticket?
Well, Roland, another fine victory for the Hawks here at Waterton Road, and another good performance from yourself. 7 paid 8.
Yeah, I'm very pleased. I wasn't making the starts I'd like to have made, but overall, yeah, well pleased.
And of course, you made a blinding start to your career here in 1991. 9 points against Exeter. Another big score tonight, and hopefully you're looking to keep that sort of form up all season.
Yeah, I'd like to do them away more, really, because I'm scoring well at home, but my away form's not so good.
Well, obviously, you didn't score at Peterborough on Easter Monday, but that's a strange track for anybody to ride first time around.
Yeah, it's a funny shape. It's fast, but the lines are tricky, and I just didn't get to grips with it.
Well, obviously not a real test for the Hawks tonight. Eastbourne didn't make any tactical substitutions, and I guess that was pleasing for you Hawks guys.
Yeah, we all got our home rides. Everyone performed well, and they weren't so strong, Eastbourne, but they had some good riders. It was just good. Like, this was the warm-up meeting, so it's nice to have a good win.
And certainly tougher matches to come, you think?
Yeah, much tougher.
Okay, Roland, thanks for talking to us, and well done tonight.
Cheers.
Well, before I give you a rundown of the individual scorers from the main match, here we go with the first leg of the Junior Challenge against the Eastbourne Eaglets. And from the tapes, it's Roland Pollard who springs into the lead, closely followed by teammate Ricky Sanford. In the yellow and black in third, it's Steve Masters, and at the back, it's Daniel O'Brien. But coming round that bend, certainly Ricky Sanford having problems, and he drops back to third place. Steve Masters comes through into second, but Roland Pollard looks set fair for a win. Ricky Sanford got himself together now and is holding on to third place ahead of Daniel O'Brien. Certainly Roland Pollard, who starred in Hackney's 2 opening home fixtures from the reserve berth, looks to be unbeatable here in the second halves, and he's got 1 lap to go as he comes round the fourth bend there, and he looks to win this opening heat of the Junior Challenge against the Eastbourne Eaglets. Well clear now of Steve Masters, and they themselves are many yards clear of Ricky Sanford, who holds third. So it's a win for Roland Pollard in red. In second place in yellow, it's Steve Masters. Third in blue, it's Ricky Sanford. So the Hackney Junior Hawks get off to a good start there in this Junior Challenge with a 4-2. Just run through the individual score chart from the main challenge tonight. We'll start with the visitors, the Eastbourne Eagles, 36 points, and that was made up as follows. Gordon Kennett, 5 points from 5 rides. John Cooper, just 1 point from 4 rides. Paul Woods, 9+1 from 5. Dean Standing, 2 from 4. Brian Nixon scored 6+1 from 4. Justin Walker, 8+2 from 4. Strangely not given an extra ride by team manager Gareth Rogers. And John Sermon scored 5+1 from his 4 rides. For the victorious Hackney Hawks, Tony Olsen, a paid maximum, 14+1 bonus from his 5 rides. Michael Warren, 6+3 from 4. Pavel Karnas, 9 from 4, much improved form from the Czechoslovakian. Tim Hunter, 2+1 from 4. Paul Whitaker, an impeccable 15-point maximum. Simon Phillips, who rode better than his score might suggest, 1 point from 4 rides. And Roland Pollard, the other reserve, he scored 7 from his 4 allotted rides. Well, now we move into heat number 2 of tonight's Junior Challenge against the Eagles. The riders riding for the Junior Hawks in red, it's Simon Phillips. In blue, it's Jason Hilliard, seemingly suffering some machine problems at the moment. And for the Eaglets in white, it's Chris Story, a former junior, of course, here at Hackney. And in yellow and black, it's Steve Knott, a regular trainee here at Hackney on a Saturday afternoon. And certainly Jason Hilliard's got very little time now to beat the 2-minute warning. And in fact, there we go with the klaxon. And he is excluded by tonight's meeting referee, John Homer. So it looks as if we're going to have 3 riders only. Of course, Jason, the number 4 for the Junior Hawks, and thus cannot be replaced. 3 riders only for this heat number 2. And from the start, it's Simon Phillips who jets into the lead. And in second place in yellow and black, it's Steve Knott. But certainly young Simon will have got a lot of confidence from that senior meeting. But meanwhile, unfortunately, this junior race is stopped as Steve Knott slides off on the 3rd bend. And that's a good lay down by the rider in white, Chris Story. But that race stopped in the interest of safety, and we'll await referee John Homer's official decision. Well, heat number 2 of this Junior Challenge, down to a match race between Simon Phillips and Chris Story, and it's Simon Phillips who leads around the 1st bend, and he's pulling well clear of the Eastbourne Eaglet, and certainly he looks set to pick up a victory in this 2nd heat of the Junior Challenge and to extend the Junior Hawks lead. And certainly young Simon has vastly improved on last year. You may recall that 2 years ago he came over as a raw 16-year-old novice from New Zealand, and at that stage I'd never even heard of speedway riders wearing a steel shoe. And certainly he made plenty of visits into the Hackney safety fence, but he's settled down now and is beginning to look like a fine young prospect. So going into the last lap, it's Simon Phillips well clear of Chris Story and seemingly set to extend Hackney's margin in this Junior Challenge to 7 points to 4. And yes, indeed, Simon Phillips wins heat number 2 ahead of Chris Story. So that's a 3-2 to the Junior Hawks, and progressively it's 7 points to 4. Well, a swift change of machinery enables Roland Pollard to just beat the 2-minute warning for the 3rd heat in this Junior Challenge. He lines up with Simon Phillips against Steve Masters and Steve Knott. And a bit of a surprise here, Steve Masters gets out into the lead ahead of Roland Pollard. Steve Knott in 3rd place, but Simon Phillips rounds Steve Knott to take that 3rd place away from him. But in the lead it's Steve Masters, of course at Eastbourne last year, but this year with the Wimbledon setup. In fact, he was due to ride for the Dons at Cowley tonight, but that meeting called off at 10:30 this morning. But he's made his way to Hackney and gone into the junior side, and he's leading this 3rd heat of this Junior Challenge. And it doesn't appear as if Roland Pollard has any answer to that fact, although Roland will try right up to the tape. Simon Phillips going very wide coming out of the 3rd bend on that penultimate lap, but he's safely holding on to 3rd place ahead of Stephen Knott. But coming up to the checkered flag, it's Steve Masters who's going to win this race for the Eaglets. In 2nd place, it's Roland Pollard, and in 3rd place, it's Simon Phillips. So the points shared 3-all in that 3rd heat, and progressively it's the Hackney Junior Hawks 10 and the Eastbourne Eaglets 7. Well, some confusion at the start there. We've only got 3 riders, and the red lights come on as the rider in yellow, as that race started, was just coming out of the pits, and certainly confusion reigned at the start line, but that rightfully stopped by meeting referee John Homer, and I'm sure we're going to have a rerun with all 4 allotted riders for this heat. So yes, we've now got 4 riders at the tapes for this 4th heat of this junior challenge, and it's Daniel O'Brien in white who makes the gate, but Ricky Sanford gets the outside line on him and moves into the lead. Holding 3rd place at the moment is young Jason Hilliard with Chris Story at the back, and that's a bit of a surprise. Young Jason, very inexperienced indeed, but Ricky Sanford, who made such rapid progress last year, is heading this heat from Daniel O'Brien, and Jason Hilliard having his own battle at the back with Chris Story. And certainly somebody's in trouble there with machinery problems, and it sounds like Jason Hilliard, who of course was excluded under the 2-minute rule in his first ride, and certainly that motor doesn't sound too healthy at all, and he's tailed off at the back. But meanwhile up front it's Ricky Sanford, who's pulling well clear now of Daniel O'Brien, and we lost the rider in white, and that's Chris Story, and Jason Hilliard is carrying on despite a very sick sounding motor, and that shows you the benefit of carrying on. Anything might happen. Chris Story fell off there on the 3rd lap, and young Jason's going to pick up 3rd place for his efforts despite a badly misfiring motor. So that's a win for Ricky Sanford. In 2nd place Daniel O'Brien, and in 3rd place Jason Hilliard. A 4-2 to the Hawks. Regrettably it's 14-9. Come to the final race of this junior challenge and the final race of the evening. The nominated riders race. In red it's Roland Pollard, in blue Ricky Sanford, in white Steve Masters, and in yellow and black Daniel O'Brien. And from the tapes it's the Hackney pairing of Pollard and Sanford who shoot into the lead, closely followed by Steve Masters in white, and it remains to be seen whether Masters can do anything about this 5-1 that Hackney currently hold, but certainly Pollard is away and gone, and Sanford riding very well indeed to hold out the experienced Masters for 2nd place. Coming round now to complete the 2nd lap, and certainly it doesn't appear that Masters can make any impression on Sanford, who's riding very well indeed. Looking for the dirt there as he goes round the 1st bend, and he looks to be a star in the making. But just 1 lap to go, and it looks as if the Hackney Junior Hawks are going to finish off in style, as did the seniors in the main match with a 5-1. But Masters is not done for yet. He's trying one big effort around the last bend, around the outside of Sanford, and it's a race to the line, and I just feel that Ricky Sanford held on there despite a good effort there from Steve Masters, who tried to beat Sanford in that dash for the line. But a 5-1 there to the Junior Hawks to finish this junior challenge, and progressively the final score is Hackney 19, the Eastbourne Eaglets 10.